There.
All right.
I know I've muted before. Here we go. I'm muting everyone. Okay, so here we go. And if anybody can't hear me, throw a chat out there real fast. Okay, so emails and TDF. You do certainly hear a lot about emails and what they mean to the whole TDF world. So we've got a whole session today just about emails and a couple starter points in all this. Last week we talked about creating things in TDF, like activities or strategic plans or opportunities, all things we create. They're created in TDF electronic forms. And once they're saved, they exist solely in TDF. When you create and save them in TDF, they don't exist in some other program. There they are, TDF. Now, however, we're going to talk about emails. And we look at them a little differently as it applies to TDF. We all understand emails, of course. From the start, understand that when we talk about an email in this session, we're really talking about the very types of emails you send and receive now into and out of Microsoft Outlook. Emails just like we've known them forever. When we add emails into the TDF realm, we're simply looking at whether the email exists or is logged into TDF. We know it's in Outlook, but it's a matter of whether it's also in TDF. So the same email, this is kind of the two general rules. The same email can exist in both Outlook and TDF, and often it does. If you delete it in one, it continues to exist in the other. So the same email exists in both Outlook and TDF. Delete it in Outlook, it continues to exist in TDF. Delete it in TDF, it continues to exist in Outlook. That is what TDF has told me, so I hope that holds true. So the question maybe becomes, why do you want emails to exist in TDF? Well, Riley has a big push about that, but why not just have them in a folder in Outlook? That's what we've always done under, let's say, Bash's credit issue or Safeway Toys opportunity. Well, if it's in Outlook only, it's not visible to everyone who might benefit in seeing it. If multiple emails, they don't exist as a trail for all to see how certain things have developed. So it offers accountability on a larger scale. Are things getting done? Is the email process as it applies to TDF working? So it allows for a lot of visibility. If it's in Outlook, it's only in your Outlook, kind of, sort of. It's in TDF, it is available to everybody. So again, the two rules, the same email can exist and often does in both TDF and Outlook. Deleting it in one doesn't delete it in the other. So today's question, how to get an email to log into TDF. I know of three main ways. Now, in three of those ways, the email logs by passing a certain test as it comes through our email server. So just picture an email hitting our server. Certainly that happens, seconds after an email is sent. If certain criteria are met, the email logs in TDF. Now, it also appears in Outlook, but if it passes those criteria, it's also in TDF. If the criteria are not met, the email only logs in Outlook, as we are familiar with for years. So the number one way to get an email to log into TDF is by email domain. In the email world, the domain is whatever comes after the @ symbol in an email address. So my email is rhogue@lrdis.com. lrdis.com is the domain. So let's say I'll be talking about my Deerbergs account. It has an email domain of deerbergs.com. meaning all their employees' work email addresses end with dearbergs.com. And there's a lot of workplaces out there. Certainly ours is somewhat like that with the lrdisc.com. I or another administrator can tell TDF to search for that domain as emails hit the server. If an email with an email address ending with dearbergs.com in the to, from, or CC fields hits the server, TDF copies it into TDF. And I'm using that word copies because suddenly there's two copies of it, one in TDF, one in Outlook. And when that copy is made, it's linked to the account I set up the domain with. So in the example just mentioned, I set up the domain under Dearberg's headquarter account. Meanwhile, the email copy to TDF also, as normal, goes into the Outlook inbox of whoever was the or whoever was the recipient. So I'm going to show you. What do I have open here? Activities. I'm going to go to emails. All right. So do keep in mind in TDF, emails I just opened, they're just another type of record. In some ways similar to accounts or activities or whatever else, strategic plans. They're just another type of thing that resides in TDF. Now look at all the emails that have logged just today. So we're going to look over here at 329. Oh, I've got this filtered. So here's 329. So a lot of emails are logging. The question, and there were a lot yesterday. So the question becomes why? What's happening that certain emails are logging, because there's a lot of them that aren't as well. Now I'm going to filter for Dearbergs because that's going to help me give an example here. So I talked about the domain and how the domain can capture an email. So here we go. I filter for Dearbergs. This one right here, this top one, or no, that's not the one. This one, the second one. You can see that it was sent to eckhart@dearbergs.com. That is why it logged into TDF. TDF saw that dearbergs.com as it came through the server, and boom, it put it in here, linking it to Dearberg's headquarters, because that's how I set the domain up. If you look over here, here's some more. So it doesn't just apply to the to address, it also applies to the from address, dearbergs.com, dearbergs.com. A lot of these have dearbergs.com, and that's because I set it up that way. We have other domains set up. I don't know if I can show you some here. Here's email domains. I went to accounts, and I have a column here for email domains. So here's another example. If there's an email that hits the server with an acmemarkets.com domain, it will link or log that email into TDF. So if you all have reason for me to set any kind of domain up, just let me know. There are certainly other ways to make this work, but that's one of them. So yeah, do let me know if you have a domain you want me to make active. Now, there are other reasons here that some of these, I'm going to go back to emails. There are other reasons why others of these emails logged into TDF. It's not, all of these aren't because of a domain. I'm going to explain to you the next reason. An email logs in TDF if a contact has been created with an email address, and that email address is in the to, from, or CC fields in an email as it hits the server. So this brings me to a whole nother record type in TDF, and that's contacts. I don't know if we've really looked at contacts before. Oh, I didn't want to click on that one. Let's click on that one. Contacts are created in TDF. They are another creation. They're created by TDF users using an electronic form. They're exactly what the name implies. It could be the CEO of Safeway. It could be a receiver at a store in southern Nebraska. It could be a buyer or category manager. It's basically anyone we might deal with in this business. I'm going to show you a couple of them. Now, again, I had opened contacts. So here they are. There's over 800 of them that have been created for one reason or another. Here's Sharon somebody at Yellowstone Pharmacy. She's the owner. Somebody maybe got a phone call from her, whatever, and decided to build her as a contact in here. Let me go to like a 6003 maybe. So here's a Vaughn's store 2231 receiver. We don't have her name over here or whatever, but the receiver, so somebody built that contact. So again, it can be an individual store contact. It can be a headquarters contact. Here's what it does in terms of emails in TDF. I am going to filter. I'm going to get these filters off. I'm going to get these filters off of here. And I am going to filter for TRACY Hogue. That, ladies and gentlemen, is my lovely bride, my lovely wife. I made her a contact for Deerbergs because that way she's not, obviously, but that way I can throw emails back and forth to her email address, kind of testing certain things about TDF. So I don't have to bother anybody else. I can just go to her computer when I need to test some of this stuff. So I created a contact for her just, again, so I could experiment. I created her as a contact for Deerberg's account by finding the account. I'm back over to accounts. I found the account. I highlighted it. I right-clicked on it. I went to action, and I went to create. Well, where's create contact? I don't know why it's not there. Oh, I know why. I opened activities, not accounts. So just like we create other things, I'm just going to say this account just for the heck of it. Just like we create other things off of an account, we would also create a contact, a new contact off of an account. Almost always a contact would be created directly off of an account, either an individual store or a headquarters. In this instance, I created Tracy using that, but under Deerberg's. So I'm going to go back to the contacts, and there's Tracy. I'm going to open that up. Now I'm opening a contact that I already created. It's Tracy Hogue. I created this last night for these purposes. I made her the CEO of Deerberg's. I haven't told her that, but I did. I also put in her email address, and that is the key because that's what's going to get caught by TDF to trigger the putting a copy in TDF. So I'm going to go back. I sent Tracy an email last night. Now, she doesn't have the deerbergs.com domain or anything like that. It's this fact that we set up her as a contact and gave her an email address that got TDF to catch it. So back to emails. And this is the email I sent to Tracy. I guess it was actually this morning. It logged into TDF only because I had created her as a contact and put in her email address in that contact. That way, when this email, which in no way, shape, or form would have logged into TDF normally, it did, because when it hit the server, it saw trahogue@charter.net. It recognized that as a contact that had been built in TDF. So it brought that email into TDF. So I'm going to go back to contacts. I'm going to get rid of the filter. Again, you can see there's over 800 of those. So again, who creates these and why? Well, now that you know what a contact can do for you in terms of logging TDF, I mean, you may want to have some of your contacts in here, which means you got to find the account and then build the contact off of it. We don't have another way to do that. I know people have asked me in the past, well, we got all these contacts in Outlook. Can't we just get them over here? At this point, we don't have that ability just yet. And, the contact information is kind of nice to have in TDF for a variety of reasons, really, but it does help in getting copies of emails to log into TDF. So far, we've examined two ways that emails log into TDF. The domain was set up to capture those emails, or an email address and a contact was set up to capture those emails. Either way, as long as TDF is not falling asleep on the job, it'll pick those guys up as they hit the server. So in both cases, though, what you link the emails to is pre-decided. With domain emails, they link to the account you set up the domain from. Contact emails link to the account you created the contact from. So usually those emails link themselves directly to an account. You'll see here after a while that you really can link or log emails directly to other types of records, like a task or a strategic plan. And that's really more what we want to have people doing as we move along with TDF. But those first two just kind of happen automatically once you set them up. But what if an email is in Outlook already? I'm going to go over to Outlook, and we'll work with one of these. But so you have an email in Outlook already. Nothing was in place to capture a copy of it into TDF, and you want the email in TDF for whatever reason. Well, whereas the first two examples worked automatically once they were set up, this has to be accomplished manually. Once it's only in TDF, as far as I know, there's only, or once it's only in Outlook, I only know of one way to get it into TDF. And unfortunately, you can't just click and drag. You got a little bit of a process, but it's not too bad. And people have called me about this at various times. So it is a reality out there. So here's this email. It came to me. It did not log in TDF. I want it to be in there, so I highlight it. I go up to Tour de Force tab in Outlook. I click on it, and this email could be anywhere. It could be it could be a sent item. It probably, I guess, could even be a deleted item, or in any folder anywhere. But it's the one you want to put in there. You highlight it, click on the Tour de Force tab, and go to this link, this chain link, and click on it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't expect that to come up, so let me try this. I'm not sure what that was. This is more like what should happen. So this email I want in TDF. It's not in there right now. So I clicked on that chain link icon. Now global search is going to open. This is an area in TDF that is simply a large search engine for tour de force. We haven't really talked about it before. You use these fields across the top, these three, to search for the record that you want to link that email to, that you just highlighted a minute ago, that's not in TDF and you want it to be in TDF. So I'm going to do the Deerbergs thing over here. I'm going to, you can search for the different types of records. So for Deerbergs in an activity, for Deerbergs in a contact, whatever, I'm going to do Deerbergs in an account. That's what I'm going to link this to. I don't really know what this is, so I'm not going to talk about it. And then I'm going to click on my, I guess I already did. So it's going to bring up whatever it finds under these criteria. And there it is. So the process from there is pretty simple. If I want to manually link this to, let's say, Deerbergs, there was one I wanted to use in particular, Deerbergs, here. I would highlight that record. I would go ahead over here and click on this link. That would be the last thing I would physically have to do for that email to log into TDF manually, and it would be linked to this record. I'm not going to actually do that because, at least for me out here in the beautiful Midwest, it takes a long time. Well, not a super long time, but it can take a couple minutes, I think, for that linkage to actually do its thing. So I'm just going to go back to TDF. And let's see, can I show you one here? I'm going to go to emails. This was the one I linked this morning. So I went through that process I just showed you. This was this morning. This email was not in TDF until I manually put it in here. And you can see, really, there's no triggers here to put it in TDF. It had no domains. It had no contact emails to allow TDF to grab it. So when it hit the server, it just went into my inbox. But I wanted it in TDF. So the only choice I had at that point was to manually put it in here. So you saw the process I just went through. This would not be here but for that manual process. All right. And again, I do get people asking me, hey, I got an email. I want it in TDF. What the heck do I do? Well, it's never too late, I guess, is what I'd say. So at this point, we've seen 3 ways to log emails into TDF. Domain and email addresses in contacts. Allow them to log automatically as the emails hit the server. We can manually log an email in TDF using the process I just showed you. Now, the last way that I know of, and TDF is always evolving, so some of this may change or there may be additions to it. The last way I know of, and probably the most important, creating the email from within TDF. And this allows you to specify more distinctly what the email links to, because it's going to link from where you create it in TDF. You saw that with some of the other things I just showed you, it just linked to the account because we had to set it up ahead of time in the contact or in the domain. Here, it's where you build it from. Where do you start the whole process of an email? So I'm going to open tasks. And let's see. I am going to open a task I created last night. That's this guy right here. Now I'm opening a task because I want to start the email trail. I want to create the email from that task. And this is an important note. To create an email from a record in TDF, which I'm about to do, I'm about to create it from a task. That record needs to be open. I'm going to repeat that. To create an email from a record in TDF, to start the email from a record, that record needs to be open. So here's my task unopened, but that won't do me any good to start an email. So I'm going to open this guy. So I want to start the email from here. I want the email trail to connect or link to this task. Now, this isn't much of a task. I mean, I just put in the bare minimum of what I may need to give you this example. Now, I want you all to keep this word in mind as you think emails and TDF. I don't even know how to say it exciting enough so that you remember it, but it's email detail. It's this guy right here. This is the key to everything in terms of creating emails from within TDF. Again, that may change down the road. I talked to TDF this morning, but right now it is all about email detail. I am, because you're all a very accomplished, professional, intelligent bunch, I'm going to show you what you don't want to do. Maybe I shouldn't do that, but I'm going to. With so many things that we create in TDF, you know, we end up going to actions, we going to, you know, and we find what new we want to create. And there's even a new email here. Don't do it. You could create an activity or any of these other things, but in this present time, don't go to actions and new email to create or start emails from within TDF. That's all I can do is tell you that. So I did show you what you shouldn't do. I'll show you what you should do. So again, the idea here in opening a record and then using email detail is that allows a link. It allows you to decide what the email links to. And all I have to do is open what I want it to link to and click on email detail. And I'm going to do that right now. This window, as far as I know, always comes up. And I'm going to show you what both of them mean, even though I think using this bottom one is mostly going to be what you do. If you click on include TDF item data in message. Now understand, clicking on email detail is going to actually allow you to start an email here in a minute. It's just you got to get past this question. If you keep it on include TDF item data in message and click on OK, I'm going to show you what that ends up looking like. Hello? Where's my Outlook? Maybe I need to close that. I don't know. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I tested this a while ago. I sent myself an email through email detail, and I had selected that top line in that window. It sends you the link back to the record you're building it from, but it also puts in all this gobbledygook about the record that you sent it from, and so much of it is just unrecognizable almost. Now, I created that task and I didn't put much information on it, so there could be some reasonable information in here, but it's in the body of the email. It's just, I don't know, it's just unsightly and kind of a mess. A lot of stuff you don't even get much out of. So if you choose the bottom choice, this one, it's just going to include the link and not all that what I refer to as gobbledygook. So I'm going to go back to the one that, there you go. So this is the one that you get that arrives at the recipient of the email if you just click that bottom one. So it's up to you, but I usually go for this one. And then I okay it. Now understand, I went through all that, but we're still in this process of email detail. And it's creating an email for me now. It's not going to come up on the screen. I've hardly ever seen it do that. I do have to go to my Outlook, and there it is. It's a blank email. So I'm going to send it to Mr. Robert Hogue. Test for session number 3. And by golly, I'm going to send that guy. Go back to Outlook and see how quickly I can get this. There it is, coming across already. So that initial email, this one right here, logged into TDF. We created it using email detail, and that's really why, but I'm going to be a little more specific with the why. It doesn't have a domain to capture it. It doesn't have an email address from a contact. It wasn't put in here manually. But here's what an email created in email detail has that other emails don't have. That, believe it or not. And that actually has a name. It's a GUID. This GUID, as it hits the server, or this email with this GUID, when it hits the server, TDF grabs it. I don't know how, but it's all about this GUID. And I'll show you kind of one in a minute. You can't really see it here, but as long as that exists, I could reply to this, and that reply is going to have a GUID in it. I could forward this email, and that is going to have a GUID in it. Now, if I did what I just did here and click delete, it would be gone, and it wouldn't do what it does with the GUID. But with the GUID, those emails are going to keep logging into TDF. And they're going to keep logging and linking to that, in this case, the task that I started it from. So when you talk about trails, email trails, and linkage and accountability and all that, this is why email detail really has a big advantage over everything else. You're controlling it, you're building it, you're starting it from where you want to start it. And in addition, you get this lovely GUID that keeps those emails attaching or logging into email, into TDF, linked to that same record. All right, give me just a second here to catch up with my notes. So, bottom line, who you send it to or copy it to or where it comes from or whatever has nothing to do with whether it logs into TDF. The GUID is deciding that for you. So you see multiple ways to get emails to log in TDF. I do want to do this. I want to go back to Manager's Council. I want to go to emails, or no, I'm going to go to tasks. Here's the task that I started that email trail from. by using email detail 5 minutes ago or so. This was the task I started it from. So I'm going to highlight it and right click, and I am going to, what am I going to do? I'm going to view any emails linked to it. And I do believe this is the one I just did a moment ago, because these other three were here earlier in the day. So this shows you that not only did it log into TDF, but it linked itself to that task. And again, if this were Joe Schmo out there somewhere and he replied to this, well, I could go to that same location, and there would be another email here, that newer one that logged because of the GUID. I love, come on, we all love saying that word. Okay. This is what, Riley is talking about so often when he brings up, be sure to, start your email from a certain record, or he uses the term email detail, whatever it is that you see in that email, that is what it's all about at this point. Open the record, and that may be an opportunity, it may be a strategic plan, it may be a task, whatever. Click on email detail and create your email from there. That produces a GUID. Now I'm going to show you one more thing. Although I did just show you 4 ways basically that emails log in. That domain, the email address and a contact, manually logging it into TDF, and then using email detail. Okay, I'm going to show you one more thing, but this isn't really logging it into TDF. It's just kind of copy and pasting it in. Sometimes people may have, well, let's just open this task and I'll show you from a task. But there can be those situations where you're not able to manually log it or whatever. But you just want the body of the email to be visible in TDF in the record that you choose. So, I mean, there's always that option. I think Joe Kilk in CSS uses this quite a bit. But you can go to your, let me get a good one here. I don't know what this one's all about, but this is a pretty simple one. But say this came into my TDF and it was a complaint from a store or something. And because it was a complaint, I created an activity for it. And I just want the essence of this email to be visible in TDF. Well, I can just copy and take it to that activity or task or whatever. Where is one? And, I can just put it in notes down here or under summary, whatever, just so anybody that opens this for any reason, whatever, they get to see it, or you get to see it too. I mean, it's just there, visible for you to make determinations possibly based on that. So if you ever have something in Outlook from an email and you just quickly want to put it into something, a strategic plan, a task, whatever, you can copy and paste. It's obviously not going to have a GUID or anything to help you out, but you can do that. And I think, like I say, CSS does do some of that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, session 3 is officially over. Now, I have recorded this, so it'll eventually be on Eleanor University. Also, with these emails that I've talked about, there are some how-to bulletins that I've created that are about emails, and they're also in Eleanor University, 1, 2, 3 page how-to sheets. So you don't have to look at a big video. So I'm going to unmute people here if I can. Look at there. And if, I don't know, did I look at chat? Does anybody have a question on what we went over today?
Robert, this is Jose. How are you?
Hi, Jose.
If I wanted to reference back anything you went over, this is being recorded and it's gonna be held in Illinois University.
Yes. I'll stop this recording when we close up, and then I'm able to save it. I got to put it on YouTube, and then I will put it in Eleanor University. I'll call it TDF training session number 3. So if you wanted to look back on it, hardly Academy Award quality, but if you want to look back on it, there it will be. I don't have session number 1 there because I didn't remember to record it. I'll have to do that.
I recall that.
But Al Oliver, God bless him, has reminded me the last 2 times to record, and I probably would have forgot both times had he not. So thank you, Al. But that's where you can go to see it. Okay.
Terrific.
Thanks, Jose. Anybody else? I didn't check the chat. There's one chat. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Jeff says, can you pick contacts in your Outlook to get uploaded into TDF? And my response, that's a chat from Jeff. I haven't checked on it recently, but not too long ago, they told me it just can't be done right now with the way we have TDF set up. So I'll just have to check back in with it because, yeah, that would be great. If you could just pick out whatever contacts you want in, hit a button, and boom, it's in there. But I don't think that is set up, to do. Although it would be wonderful. It would be easy, but it's not set up that I know of just yet.
That's too mean.
Okay, so that's the end of the chat. I will ask one more time for questions. I'll wait 5 seconds. If nobody has a question, you can contact me. If anybody's behind or if none of this made any sense in God's world here, give me a call and I'll go over it one-on-one with you. Any questions? Any last questions? All right, everybody, have a great afternoon and evening. And
Thank you, Robin, for your time.
You're very welcome. Hopefully we'll hear from y'all next Tuesday with another
We'll catch you on
edition of TDF training.
We'll catch you on HBO. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Talk to y'all later.